Hello and welcome to the DRS Zone podcast. My name is Ed Wyatt. With me is my 15-year-old son, Sam. And right off the top, we want to apologize for not putting out a couple of podcasts in the past few weeks. But let's be honest, we do have a pretty good excuse.
I do have a good excuse. What has it been? 3 weeks? The last couple of races, I have been hitting the books, studying for year nine exams. I took the tests, what was it, a week ago, week and a half, and just got on holiday. So it's been a pretty busy month, but we do have the Singapore Grand Prix to talk about, and we have the Italian and Dutch Grand Prix to talk about as well.
Yeah, well, we missed those, the Dutch Grand Prix and the Italian Grand Prix. And to be honest, both were won by Max Verstappen, and he set a new F1 record, in fact, winning 10 races in a
10 in a
row.
row, broke
And
Sebastian Vettel's record.
that's right. But coming into this one, there was really no reason to think things would change.
No, there wasn't.
Red Bull had won every race, but last night, Singapore Grand Prix, we're recording this on a Monday night, Melbourne time. The Sunday night race in Singapore was just nuts. Unbelievable race.
Incredible. And Red Bull did look off the pace the whole weekend. I mean, we
Mm,
will talk about this more later, but it wasn't a surprise that they didn't do so well in the race based on the weekend.
agree.
But the surprise was the weekend that they had. And it resulted in Ferrari's first win in over a year.
How about that?
Carlos Sainz, second win in F1, second win for Ferrari. Unbelievable. Great racing, battles, overtakes, a new winner this year. Everything you want in a Grand Prix.
Yeah,
Perfect.
the funny thing is, we've been saying this all year that there's great competition behind Red Bull,
Yeah, but no one cares because it's for third,
but they're
fourth, and
going for
fifth.
second or third or fourth or fifth. That's exactly right. This time we remove Red Bull. It's like those betting. You can actually bet on the races with Max and Red Bull out of it. It's like that betting market where you take them out of it, and suddenly we've got the best race of the year, which is
Yeah.
just a really weird sort of situation. But let's not worry about that because it was just an amazing race to watch. Why don't you quickly go through the classification, and then we'll talk about some of the aspects of the race.
Yes, well, my man Carlos Sainz did win the Grand Prix for Ferrari, and his old teammate Lando Norris finished second in the McLaren. Lewis Hamilton snuck onto the podium with a couple corners to go in third, and Charles Leclerc snuck up into fourth and held off Max Verstappen, fourth and fifth respectively for those two rivals. Pierre Gasly, a strong finish in sixth for him. Oscar Piastri up 10 places
Amazing.
from where he started to seventh. Brilliant performance from both McLarens. Sergio Perez, disappointing eighth. Liam Lawson
Oh
in
yeah.
ninth on his third race in F1 for AlphaTauri in Singapore. He takes his first points. Incredible.
It
And
was.
K-Mag in 10th for some points that he has needed. Alex Albon outside the points in what is called his home race, even though it's not. Joe Guan Yu, 12th. Hulkenberg, 13th. Logan Sargent, who caused an early safety car, was 14th. Fernando Alonso, a disappointing race in 15th with a 25-second pit stop. And not finishing was George Russell, Valtteri Bottas, Esteban Ocon, Yuki Tsunoda, and Lance Stroll did not take part in the race due to an injury sustained in qualifying.
Very good. Very good wrap up. There are so many places to start, but let's get Stroll out of the way first. Big crash in qualifying,
Yeah,
just continuing his sort of bad run and the team's bad run. You know, Alonso got the penalty, just a rookie error, really, driving over the white
yeah.
line into the pit lane. So just a forgettable weekend for them. But the big story, obviously, is at the top, as you
Red
mentioned.
Bull.
Yeah, Red Bull's
It
really
is.
struggling
I
to get
respect Red
anywhere.
Bull as much as I dislike them, and I dislike Verstappen, and I don't love Perez. I respect them. Respectfully, I prefer races without them because if that's what happens when they're not in the competition, then I'd be happy for them to just not take part in the races
Yeah,
because that was
yeah,
thrilling.
it's a weird dynamic, isn't it? And
And
we
it was
had
all set up because Max has never won in Singapore.
no.
He crashed out in 2017 on the first lap with two Ferraris. He had a win. He could have had a win in 2018, but he lost out 2019. No, in 2019, sorry. And yeah, this is not his track. We know that. It's not his track. Perez won last year, not Max Verstappen, who finished a disappointing seventh, a disappointing fifth this year. It is not his track, but it's not just him, as you can tell with Perez in eighth. It is the car this weekend for Red Bull.
Yeah, the car really struggled. They were hurt by a couple of safety cars that helped others. I still don't think they were going to win
No,
or even potentially podium, but
podium. No,
that
I agree.
did hurt them a bit. And
It
I
did.
will say before we get into the other stuff, Max did finish fifth. He didn't finish 10th.
A
We're
bad
talking about a
weekend.
horrible Red Bull, and he
That
finished fifth.
charge though, he went from 18th to 5th, and it could have been 4th if he got Leclerc on the last lap.
Mm,
Imagine that. Worst weekend ever. Max Verstappen finishes 4th.
that's the
But
thing we have to consider. You're right.
yeah, but it
Um,
was impressive how the speed is still there. They came from 18th to 5th in about 10 laps. It was
yeah.
pretty impressive.
The end of the race was as enthralling
Thrilling.
driving as we've
Brilliant.
seen in years. Sainz and
Perfect
Norris
end.
holding off Hamilton, or Russell and Hamilton, and then Russell and Norris both hit the wall on the last
Yeah.
lap. Norris just grazed it, kept going. Russell hits it and is out of the race into the
Yeah,
into the
it
wall. It's
was really
unbelievable.
all set up. I mean, so what is this? It's a virtual safety car, and the top four, it's Carlos Sainz, Norris. No, it's Carlos Sainz, George Russell, Norris, Hamilton at the time. Is that correct? And then the two Mercedes decide to pit. I was skeptical because they were so close on track, and Hamilton lost about 4 seconds on the pit stop. So I was like, yeah, it's a big mistake. And the first lap they gain about a second on the top two, and it's
Yeah.
like, wow, there's 11 laps left, they're 11 seconds back, and they're catching in about a second and a half each lap. They're
Yeah.
going to win this. It's going to be a 1-2. They get close. The commentators are pumping them up. They're basically written off Carlos Sainz, who's still leading by 10 seconds. George
It's
Russell
very
is going to
true.
win this
They
race.
give Brundle and
They
Crosby are
catch
giving it
up.
to Russell. Yeah.
Yeah, they catch up. They get past Leclerc after a few laps. They It seems as though they're just going to blow past Norris, blow past Sainz, and win by about 10 seconds. Lando Norris defends well, and it really showed how DRS is not just you don't just it's a guaranteed pass. Carlos Sainz defended and Lando Norris defended incredibly well. So everyone's talking about how they were literally playing a game of chess. They weren't
Mm.
playing a game of chess; they were driving. But I see what they mean by the strategy.
Well, they were
Um,
using it. He was using the DRS to let Norris get close to him
yeah,
and pull away from Russell
yeah, it
and
was,
Hamilton. That's the thing,
yeah,
because
it was very smart.
the issue was if either of those Mercedes and or both got past Norris, then they were probably going to get past Sainz. So
Definitely,
Sainz very cleverly figured out that he and Norris could keep those guys at bay. And it made sense for Norris too, because Norris was
because he
probably going
wants
to lose his
second.
podium.
Yeah, it
He
is.
would
It
lose
is
his
true.
podium. He would be fourth.
So
So it
they
was
get close.
brilliant.
2 laps to go. Yeah, as you said, Norris hits the wall. Russell hits the wall. Norris continues on, barely any damage. George Russell goes straight on down the track into the wall. He's out, and everyone cruises through. Sainz takes the win. Norris second, Hamilton third. Just incredible stuff at the end, and so close. Honestly, I honestly could not tell you who was winning. They all said any of these four can still win this race. I was like, Norris can't. He's
Yep.
second. He's going to get overtaken. And then he got closer to Carlos Sainz. He was 4/10 at one point. So it was,
The
yeah, brilliant finish.
and I think the one race where Red Bull gets things wrong, all the others seem to get it right. Mercedes held back that
Yeah.
extra set of medium tires, and we're kind of going, what's that for? What's that for? Eventually, that paid off with that other safety car. Ferrari got their strategy right, basically that sacrificing Leclerc, if you want to call it
Yep.
that, to have him go slow and let Sainz get
Yeah, go
away,
slow.
right?
Yes. They did.
McLaren got it right.
For once,
Yeah,
Ferrari got it right.
yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. But it was
Yeah.
an incredible finish. Great to see. Sainz and Norris, obviously very good friends, former teammates.
Yeah.
So you had that feel good story as well.
Yeah. The
If
car
anything,
Lando.
I feel a little. I don't feel bad, but if I were a Mercedes fan,
Oh,
I'd
I
feel
did.
like you were so
Distraught if I was a
close
Mercedes
to
fan.
winning it potentially.
But I'm not a Mercedes fan, so We got the win. I'm
Yeah,
happy.
absolutely.
For the first
Um,
time this year, I'm happy with the result.
I wonder if the changes in the track are something that now they'll consider keeping.
Oh, they've got to keep it now.
Mm,
If it's been, I mean, Singapore's always a good race. There's always drama. But last year it wasn't really it. They changed the track layout and this happens. I mean, partly this happened because no Red Bull, but was Red Bull's failure due to the changes in track?
correct. Good
And it
question.
caused drama. So do they keep it knowing the FIA? They want Red Bull to do well, so I doubt they will. But I think it's a no-brainer to keep it. I mean, if that happens, you get so much following around the sport, which the people that got into Drive to Survive over COVID enjoying is, hey, this is crazy. Hamilton Verstappen, incredible championship, and Max has won the last like
Yeah.
50,000 races, fallen out of love. This is bringing people back in.
Yeah, I
It's a
agree.
no-brainer to keep it. I think they're silly if they don't.
Well, did you see in Ted's notebook after qualifying, he asked, there were a bunch of people, maybe 50 fans, 100 of them sitting there, and he said, who likes the track the way it is, or don't we want to go back? Virtually all of them went, keep it, keep it, keep it like this. It was really
Yeah.
interesting. They were all not that that's who decides how it is, but you could just tell that
You can tell
this
that
this
they like it.
yeah, contributed to something.
Now,
Let's talk.
just
Yeah,
quickly, I'm not a Red Bull fan. I've said that. Imagine you are a Red Bull fan living in Singapore. You're a huge fan of Max Verstappen. He's won 10 races in a row. You're like, this is perfect. I go to the Singapore Grand Prix. It's a guaranteed win, 11 in a row. I get to see my driver win. And it's the one race that he bombs. That would just be soul crushing if you were that person.
that is, well, they did say that the crew from the Red Bull, whatever the company is in Thailand, the original Red Bull
Yeah.
company that I think still owned 49%, if I'm not mistaken. They were all there, obviously, because this is
Huh.
the closest Grand Prix to them. So
And they've
you
won a
not only
bunch.
you had
Yeah.
fans like you're talking about, you had big cheeses, Red Bull big wigs there and seeing the same
Yeah.
thing. Didn't even see a
Yeah, what
podium.
if you own the business, you're not keeping track of it, you just go to this one race and they do bad, you think your business is failing in the sport. You don't know that they've won 10 in a row.
That's exactly
Or what
right.
is it? The team's won like more than 10 in a row. It's been everyone this year.
Every race this year and
Every
going back
race
to
this year.
last year, a couple too as
Last year there
well.
was a few.
Yeah.
I think
Um,
Brazil, George Russell won. But
yeah,
after that, Abu Dhabi.
correct. Yeah, it does go back to last year. Let's talk about the drivers from down under for a minute. Starting with Piastri,
Daniel
who
Ricciardo.
yeah, Ricardo was back, but we'll get to that in a minute. Piastri coming in seventh,
Brilliant
really,
drive.
really
Really
is,
solid
yeah,
work from
he
him.
he is a really good driver. There's
He's a
no
good
doubt about
talent.
it.
I
Yeah.
really like him.
Yep.
I was skeptical at first. The whole Mark Webber
Yeah.
situation, the
Yep.
fallout with Alpine. It was kind of like, great, Ricardo could be going, one of the best personalities in the sport. And you bring in this kid who seems kind of arrogant, got his way in through Mark Webber, Alpine, McLaren, whole saga, bit of a mess. And he didn't look good the first few races. And then there's some interviews, and I'm starting to like him. And then he performs, finishing second
Mm,
in Belgium. And it's just gone from bad to not worse to incredibly good. I mean, everyone's getting behind him now. Now that Ricardo came back in, it got even better. It's just,
yes.
yeah, it's great at the moment.
Yeah, he's legit. He's not going anywhere.
He is. No,
The
he's
other
not.
one, the big question, of course, is the Kiwi, Liam
Is he
Lawson.
going anywhere?
He's going to be
Is
going
Liam
somewhere.
Lawson going anywhere?
He's got to go somewhere.
If
Whether
Perez,
he needs a job, he needs a
there
seat.
hasn't been a talent in AlphaTauri because they had Albon who came up and they axed him, Red Bull. Gasly did the same thing. Perez has worked out incredibly well, but he's not getting any younger, so they've got to think about something. I've heard Lando Norris, but I think Lando Norris likes McLaren. He loves McLaren actually. So I think Lawson's not there for like next year, but I think if AlphaTauri keep him, because Ricardo, I doubt they're going to keep forever. I think Ricardo's going to Williams, I've heard, for Sargent. If
Hmm.
Lawson stays at AlphaTauri, he keeps these results up, I think Red Bull could be knocking on the door of the Kiwi soon. I
Yeah,
think. Over
I
Sonoda.
think Norris, back to that story, which was floated a while ago. I think
It
he'd be
was.
insane to go to Red Bull. I think he'd be nuts. You see what the
I don't
second
think he's a
driver to
seller. I don't
Max
think
is.
he's that kind of
No,
guy.
it's just silly. You can't win. You're in a bad situation when you're the number two driver at Red Bull. Look how many have failed. Look how many have
Yeah,
failed.
everyone's failed.
Perez is a really good driver. He's won races and he gets nothing but criticism, even from
Any
Helmut
other team,
Marko.
and he's the main guy, the lovable, likable guy.
Yeah, you can't win
You
as
instantly go to Red Bull and you have a lot of fans, but all other 9 teams are rooting against you. And for someone like Lando, who's so likable, all these things on social media, gaming, all these things, everyone loves him. He's all the British favorite drivers. And up against Max Verstappen, he could be portrayed as a villain, and then everyone's against him because Red Bull keep winning and they're sick of it. And he's gone from a fan favorite to just Max Verstappen's teammate. And
well,
it's
you
just,
it's a lose-lose proposition because if you
it
do
is.
really well, they don't want you to do better than Max. If you do really poorly, you get
You're gone.
criticized or you get sacked. So
And
it's a
you're
it's a
gone, and McLaren have someone else, and they're not giving
thankless
him up,
job.
and then Norris got nowhere to go.
It's a thankless
So
job.
I agree. I agree with you.
But Lawson I've been super impressed with his
He has been good.
demeanor, with his driving,
He
with
knocked Max
his
out in Q2.
well, yeah, that was great. That was great. But I think he's got the right mentality for it. He
I
reminds me a
agree.
little bit
And
of
he's still
Piastri.
young.
Yeah, he's a kid. And it's
What is
great
he,
to have a Kiwi
21?
in there.
And he's been around for a few years. It's not like it's his first year. He's been in F2 for like 5 years and he's
All right. So
23 or 4.
let me do this. I'm gonna go down the
Yep.
list of drivers and you
Yep.
tell me if they're gonna be on the grid next year. All right.
Okay. All right. All right.
Sainz,
Yes.
Norris,
Definitely. Definitely.
Hamilton.
He signed a new
Yes,
contract, so
he will be.
yes.
Well, I can't believe
No,
you
but he
hesitated.
could
He's on the
retire.
grid. No,
He
he's
could
not retiring.
retire. Oh, okay.
Leclerc,
Well, then yes. Yes.
Verstappen,
Yes.
Gasly,
Yes.
Piastri,
Yes.
Perez. I'm not convinced. I'm going to give that not sure. Okay.
We'll come back
You
to
going to
it. We'll
work
come
with me
back
on
to it.
that? It's not a
We'll come
big
back
deal.
to
It's
it.
just a simple exercise. Lawson,
Yeah.
Lawson. I
I'm gonna
think he
say
will be.
yes.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
I
say
agree.
yes, actually.
Magnussen. Yes, he signed a
No,
deal, right?
I did. Yes.
Yeah, they
Yes.
signed a deal. Albon.
Yes.
Yes. Joe just
Yes.
signed a
Signed
new
a
deal.
contract.
Yes. Hulkenberg. Yes,
Yes.
just signed a new deal. Sargent.
No.
Yeah, I'm not convinced either. Alonso. He's one where I could see retiring, but I
I
don't
can
think he
see
will.
him, but here's the thing with Fernando. He's not the kind of guy to go, "Oh, it's been a bad year. I'm out."
Agreed.
And
Agreed.
it hasn't been a bad year. He's
Agreed.
fourth or whatever. The awkward thing is, the start of this year, he's finishing second in an Aston Martin. He's probably thinking, I have a great year. I go out as a hero. This is my last year. Now they're turning not so good. I'm not convinced that Fernando is going to want to leave his legacy like
Yep.
this.
I think that's a good
So
call.
I think he will be on the grid next
Yeah,
year.
I think you're
But
right.
I think he could be in a different car.
Possibly.
I
Russell?
think so.
Yes.
Yes.
Bottas?
Yes.
I think he wants to be. Ocon? Ocon?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. He's
Sonoda?
good enough. Yes.
I'm not sure about Sonoda. He's another one
Definitely.
I'm not sure about because of the Alpha Tauri thing. I think he will be, but I'm not sure. Stroll.
No.
See, this is going to be the most intriguing
This is
thing to
weird.
me.
If
Yeah,
his dad isn't the head of the team, he's 100% gone.
agreed. I
100%.
agree. I agree. Yeah.
But it's awkward because you can't fire your son,
Yeah, it's like, does
but
Lawrence Stroll
you
want to
can't
be
keep it to
what's he want out of Aston Martin? I guess is the question,
money.
right? Yeah,
Money.
but do you get more of that with another driver or with your kid, or is it worth it? I mean, he's got to
I
figure
think
that out.
Alex Albon is not a bad suit for Aston Martin.
Well, my gut feeling on Lawrence Stroll is he's probably a ruthless businessman, right? And if he wants to do the right thing about his business, he'll fire his kid.
But Canadians are too nice. It's in their DNA.
He didn't get where he is
Yeah.
by being a super nice guy. Trust me.
No,
He,
I think you're right, but
I'm
part of
not
me,
saying
you
he
can't
would.
be
I'm
sure.
not saying
You
he would
can't
send
be
it
sure.
an email and sack him. I'm just saying I don't think he's the kind of guy that's like, well, Lance is really struggling. He's having a terrible year, but we'll keep him around because he's my kid. I don't think that's the way Lawrence Stroll thinks.
Or
But
does Lawrence
may
Stroll go to another team? Does he leave Aston Martin? That solves the situation.
the dad or the
He's
kid
the dad. I can
buy
see
another
Lawrence.
team?
Yeah,
No,
I could see him jumping on Williams or something.
then he'd
A
have to
team
sell
kind
Aston
of,
Martin. He owns the
I don't know.
team.
I can see him jumping off and onto a new team. I don't know why. I
I
can
could see him
see.
selling and moving out. That's what I'm saying. We don't know what he wants out of this
Yeah, it's weird. We
team.
don't know the inside. You're right,
Correct.
but
But
I don't
you're
know.
right. If he were just Lance Stroll and Bob Smith owned the team, I think he would be gone in a heartbeat.
I agree. I
His heart
agree.
just doesn't look in it either, right? Do you think you have a chance, Lance? No, the car's slow. Like he's not even super positive
Yeah,
at the moment.
and it's not easy to be. I mean, the car's not great,
Oh, he couldn't agree more. Yeah,
but
absolutely.
and Fernando's not exactly the happiest guy in the world like he was in the first few races.
No,
But yeah, you're
Fernando
right.
had
He's
a
not
had
in it. He's not in it.
Fernando had a shocker. There's no doubt
Yeah, I
about it.
think there could be a bit of musical chairs
Yep.
this off season. I think there could be a lot of moving around.
Next week it is Japan Suzuka Circuit. Like Singapore, it wasn't held in 2019 or 2020, and last year's or 2021. No, I've got that
It
wrong.
was held in 19. It
Wasn't
wasn't
held in
held in
20 and
20 or
21. Yes,
2021.
sorry, the last two. And then last year, Max won it on a
Last year
very,
doesn't count as a race.
very
That's
controversial.
not a race. 29 laps isn't a race. I'm
Well,
not convinced
it's
that
yeah, well, it
it was
was
fair.
and it counts, but I know what you're saying.
Then why did they give Max full points if they only did 29 laps? That's
Oh,
not 75 plus race distance.
there's a new rule that they put in apparently that no one
They
was
put
aware
that in
of.
as it happened.
Conspiracy theory coming to light
As
here.
it happened. But
Very
Latifi
tricky,
scored points.
tricky circuit. Max, Leclerc,
It is.
Perez, and Leclerc were on the podium.
The king of Suzuka, Sebastian Vettel, is not on the grid anymore, but he is planting a B hotel at a corner under every team's name. So each team owns a B hotel at, is it turn 2, I think.
I'm going to withhold comment on that. We do have a good
I
friend
love,
who is a beekeeper, so I'm not going
we
to say
do.
anything negative about bees.
No,
But
I love Sebastian Vettel, you know. He's one of my favorite drivers, one of my idols, but he's
hey, he's having fun. Why not?
he
He
is having
cares
fun.
about the
Yep, all right.
environment.
He
Let's
cares
give
about
him
it.
that.
We
Yeah.
love Seb.
Um,
Nothing, no comment, nothing bad to say.
what happens in Japan? Does Max and Red Bull just come back flying and obliterate the pack?
You go first.
Oh, no, I'm just asking. I'm not saying a prediction. I'm just
No,
saying, what do
because
you
I don't want
think?
to give it away yet because I'm not convinced.
Yeah. Well, this is more a question in general rather than is Max going to win it? Like, do you think there's an underlying issue with Red Bull
No,
or was
no,
this
no,
just
no,
a
no, no,
one-off
no, no,
thing?
no. This is a one-off. This is a
Right.
one-off, 100%.
Okay.
There is rain in Japan. There's always rain.
There's rain.
So
That's thank you,
there's
Mr.
always rain in
Weatherman.
Japan. There's been so many
I know
races,
there have been.
and they're
Agreed.
extra careful because of, and it is the anniversary of Jules
Yep.
Bianchi, which was in 2014. So I understand the FI are extra careful,
Yep.
like due to last year, and so I think there could be a bit of drama this race. I think there could be some rain, some red flags, and
Was this
some
the one where
controversy.
Gasly had the almost hit the
Tractor.
tractor? Yeah, that I
Yeah,
remember
8
that.
years after the
Yeah,
incident,
so
and they
scary.
put another tractor back on track.
Yeah, that was
Now,
scary.
Gasly was going a little fast, but why is the
Yes.
tractor there without a yellow flag?
Yep. Look, I haven't
You can
read
go
it.
first.
We normally do this podcast a little later in the week, so we have a chance to kind of do a little more research and all that. This is a
Yeah.
Monday night here in Melbourne.
Max Verstappen could get a
I
penalty
I
tomorrow.
think Max probably comes back and wins it. That's the safe prediction. Max, um, Lando.
Lando
mm,
second.
I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not sure. I'll be honest with you. Max, Lando, Lewis, maybe George. Yeah, I'm not sure. In that vicinity. I don't think Ferrari are going to be there, but I may be wrong.
Yeah, all right.
What do you think?
I'm saying third, George Russell. He's
Yep,
coming back.
yep,
Second, Max Verstappen.
yep.
First, back-to-back Carlos Sainz.
Wow.
I think he's going back. I don't think Red Bull are slow. I think there's going to be some drama, or I think it's about time. Engine's not working. Grid penalty. Max sent to the back or something.
Sainz looks
There's
great, no doubt about it. He's
grid
been one of
penalties, rain, drama, signs on form. I think it's all
yep,
written down. I think
yep.
it's all there for Carlos Sainz.
I think that's a good call, actually. I
Sainz,
think,
Verstappen, Russell.
yep, I like that.
I think Red Bull are back, but I think they'll get a bit unlucky this week.
Going to be a fascinating qualifying.
Yeah, I do.
Qualifying is going to be
I think so.
really interesting.
And it is time for grid penalties. It's the time of the year when you'll see bigger teams like Mercedes and Ferrari and Red Bull. And I think if Red Bull struggled last week, they may as well try something new this week. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see Max
Interesting.
demoted a few places after qualifying.
All right. Interesting call. Need to mention our good friend Cameron Vandendungen, who's been very good to us. Has a new
Yes.
show on a radio station here in Melbourne, SEN. I think it's sen.com.au. It's called Gridwalk. Very exciting to have some Formula One talk on the
Yeah, check it
radio
out.
and the
It's very
podcast.
good.
And little Birdie told me that you may be contributing to the show at some point in the future. So
Maybe. Yeah.
we'll keep an eye on that.
Yeah, check it out. It's a good show.
Yeah, should be a lot of fun.
Very good. Yeah.
Anything else before we go?
Not off the top of my head.
Yep.
No.
And you've got a
F2
couple
and
weeks off,
F3
which is good.
not back until Abu Dhabi. So
What's that?
I said sport races F2, F3 not back till Abu Dhabi.
Yes.
So
yes.
it will be F1 for the next few months. But they will be back for the season finale.
Hot take. I didn't mind
take.
having clear air for F1 this whole weekend. I like the F2 and the F3, but I didn't mind not having to worry about taping various F3, F2, who won that, which one's this, which sprint race is this. I kind of didn't mind the clear
Here's
air
my
of
take on
just
it.
F1.
I love F2 and F3. You know
So do
I do. I think it's a bit stupid that they do about 4 or 5 weekends in a row, and then from Italy to Abu Dhabi, there's nothing.
Yeah.
I think space it out a bit more, and there's no problem. Keep the amount of races, that's fine, but there's no point doing a 12 race season and 11 of them in the first 5 months, and then you wait 4 months to do the last one.
Yep.
There's no
That's
point. Spread it out, I think. I think that would solve an issue.
Yeah,
I mean, there might be something wrong, like shipping the cars, because it's all Europe and then it goes to like Asia and it jumps around. But
that's probably it. Actually,
I think they can figure it out. There's a lot of money. They can figure it out.
All right, that'll do it for us. Great to be back on the DRS Zone podcast. My name is Ed Wyatt. His name is Sam Wyatt. And we will see you, I promise. We will see you after the Japanese Grand Prix. You can find us anywhere you get your podcast. We'll see you soon.